Hi, welcome to episode 16 of the Her in Between podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Jones, and I'm so happy to be here today. If you listen to this episode, like within the first week it comes out, I am on vacation. I'm about to literally leave for vacation right now as soon as I put this microphone down. So I'm not even sure when I'm going to be able to edit this, but it is going up this week. But yeah, how y'all feeling? It's episode 16. Not gonna lie. You know how like when you're about to go on vacation, like you it's like a crazy time before. Like you're so busy or whatever. I wasn't busy prepping for vacation cuz I didn't even get my hair done, nails done, nothing. But work was a lot and I had a lot of social like activities with family and friends, graduations, and so I literally was like, I gotta at least record before I leave because I don't want to bring my microphone on vacation. So, anyways, we're here. We're drinking a strawberry watermelon seltzer water. Um, it's really early. I'd rather I'd rather be drinking tea, but I don't want to dirty up a mug because I ran my dishwasher already. So today's episode is going to be short and sweet. We're just going to get straight into it. So buckle your seatbelts and let's go on this little ride. I don't know why I said that. I'm like halfway asleep. So, anyways, I'm going to call today's episode Winning in Silence. Learning how to win in silence. Winning in silence is something I think we've all heard, but we might not understand what that means. It basically means learning how to take your wins without external validation. Yeah, it's about self growth without the need for social approval, outside approval. It's learning to get that win and hold it in. And I want to add in, it's nothing wrong with sharing your wins, but sometimes it's important to take that win and keep that momentum and keep going because sometimes the need for external validation can slow us down. And sometimes when we're winning and we're not getting the external validation that we think that we deserve, it can cause um, us to question things. I'm a businesswoman, and so I'm always coming up with ideas. And I remember listening to something Sarah Blakely said. She's like the the founder of Spanx, the company for women's underwear and undergarments. Um, she said that when you have an idea, you got to be careful who you share it with because when you come up with an idea, it's in its most vulnerable state. It's like your baby, and so when she said that, it kind of reminds me about like when you have certain wins, you got to be careful like what you do with it and who you choose to share it with because um, some wins are just a win in like the pathway to other wins. And so we all have expectations. And if when you tell somebody about a win and they don't respond in the way that you want them to, it could potentially like slow your momentum down. It could halt you. It could stop you from hopping to the next win, if that makes sense. So um yeah, I hope that kind of helped you kind of figure out what I'm talking about when it's like win in silence. Not that it's bad to share your wins because you should have safe places to do that, but it's just to this episode is just to focus on how it's important to um, take some of those wins in silence and move in silence even. I would say there's a few benefits to winning in silence. And number one, it shows that you are focused on the journey and not the approval. And that's kind of what our in between is. It's focusing on the journey, not the end result. And so winning in silence is focusing on the journey and not seeking approval. It's saying that my win is enough just for me right now. I don't need anybody to clap for me. I can keep this ship moving if it's just me, knowing that I'm slowly building the pieces. Secondly, it develops self-discipline. You're working towards a goal that matters to you, not anybody else. You don't need praise from anybody else. Um, and you are going to lay those bricks regardless if somebody is telling you that you did a good job. Um, I read a quote somewhere a long time ago. I'm talking like this was probably before TikTok, Instagram. They said basically, if you live by the approval of others, then you will die by their criticism. And so, when you are able to lay those bricks without anybody telling you that you're doing a good job, you become unstoppable, literally. Like, you develop a self-discipline that regardless if anybody sees you, you are going to build a house. And I think that is an important quality to get because it's not everybody's responsibility to root for you, but it is your responsibility to make moves and do what God has put you on this earth to do. So yeah, those are some reasons why it's just important. Um, Running your race, not looking to the left or the right, just running. So yeah, now that we got that down, I kind of want to get straight into like strategies for winning in silence. Like, what strategies can we use to win in silence? We're going to run through this pretty fast. So, like I said, buckle your seatbelts. One is to set private goals. We should all be setting private goals. And this is the thing, I'm not saying that you can't share it with family or friends, but I'm saying that you should not be sharing it because you're seeking validation from an external audience. Your goals should be about personal fulfillment, not public recognition. Sometimes I just keep things to myself. And when I hit it, I just check that box. And that was for me. That was a me win. It's nothing wrong with having me wins. So set some private goals. Second strategy is to practice patience. Patience is key. It's not about running the fastest race. Things take time. Things take time. I think that we forget that. Like, things take time. So show yourself grace. It's about building something solid and sustainable. We don't need quick wins. And so winning in silence, sometimes that means just being patient with yourself. Not feeling like you have to put all your goals on a board and hit them by a certain timeline. And sometimes when you tell other people your goals, um, a lot of people, a lot of times it'll feel like you need to rush because you've gotta, you've gotta let people know that you're making moves. And so sometimes we'll feel rushed and feel like we gotta hit this because that so and so knows. No. When I think about God's timing, even like God's timing, it doesn't move fast. He's really patient and he takes his time. And so if that's what he does, you need to do that with yourself. And another strategy is to develop the idea that you are a lifelong student. When you win in silence, you are able to pick things up along the way. Instead of rushing through something, because this is just between you and the person in the mirror, you're able to know that, hey, I'm having a difficult time completing this goal, but I'm learning this along the way. I think sometimes when we are having to win out loud, we're not able to focus in on all the moving parts of the goal that we're trying to reach. Um, I think we're able to be like, hey, I'm writing my book, but I keep having difficulty putting this and this together. Why is that? You're able to like dig deeper, and it just gives you time. And so it's so funny. Like the moment we let other people know certain things, um, I sometimes think that it develops a pressure. But when you're winning in silence, moving in silence, you get to just chill. Take time for yourself. So yeah, those are a few strategies. And I wanted to end this with just a story of when I had to win in silence because I think that it really helped me out because I felt like for a long time I needed external validation. I needed somebody to cheer me on. Um, and I'm not saying that I don't run into that anymore because I'm not perfect. I'm a human, but um, this this really helped me out. I remember when I was transitioning through careers, and I remember telling my friends like, "Hey, I want to pursue this new career." You know, they cheered me on and stuff, but I kind of just left it at that. I didn't necessarily go into the details of um, the moves I was making. Um, I didn't broadcast it on social media. I really kept the inside parts to myself. And I really focused on like my personal growth. Obviously, switching careers, I was rejected so much. I have screenshotted every single rejection um, email from me just transitioning into this new career. Um, and I took a lot of losses, but I gained so much. And I remember when I finally landed where I wanted to be. I finally landed in the place that God prepared for me. Um, and it hit so hard. It was a pure example of me just running. And I think it helped me just be able to do things in silence. It was like a very pivotal moment for me. And it just gave me a big confidence in myself and just the confidence that God has me and that really a lot of time it's just got to look to him and I can keep moving forward, keep laying the bricks. And so, yeah, there's other things that have built this confidence in me, but that's one that I can really point to and be like, yeah, I changed after that. That put some hair on my chest. But yeah, that's today's episode. I know this was a short one, but I didn't really have much to say. Um, and I just want you to remember that your journey is unique. And oftentimes, the quietest victories lead to the loudest successes. Stay patient, stay focused, and keep moving. Um, you don't need external validation from anyone. You can win in silence and keep moving. There's nothing wrong with sharing your victories, but sometimes it's important to keep some things to yourself because it definitely builds a confidence within yourself. And I think that God is always trying to remind me that, hey, Kellē, it's just between me and you. You don't need the applause, and you don't want to live by their applause because sometimes they're not going to be able to clap for you. God is the only validation that we will ever need. And I know that sometimes that's really hard to believe because we're human and it feels so good to be cheered on. And there's nothing wrong with being cheered on, but that's something that you don't need. It's something that we want, but we don't need it. And so, yeah, keep winning in silence, keep making moves in silence. I love you. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify podcast. Love ya. Bye-bye.